The movie started with Kate Dibiaski, a PhD candidate, spotting what seemed like a comet headed straight for Earth while she was at a space station. Her professor, Dr. Randall Mindy, congratulated her on the find and named the comet after her. But as they checked the data, they realized the comet was way more dangerous than they first thought. It was a planet killer that could wipe out all life on Earth in just 6 months. They freaked out and let NASA know. Dr. Teddy Oglethorpe, who ran the Planetary Defense Coordination Office, instructed them to come to DC for a meeting with the president. However, when they arrived at the White House early the next morning, they spent the entire day waiting. As the president was more focused on handling a scandal involving one of her candidates and busy with a birthday celebration. Kate and Randall ended up spending the night in a hotel, where they called their loved ones to get some comfort without spilling the details. Randall reached out to his wife June and his sons to check in on them, while Kate talked to her boyfriend Philip, a journalist for a major newspaper. The next day, they finally met with President Janie Olian and her son Jason, who's also the chief of staff. The president didn't take their warnings seriously, saying they get all kinds of end-of-the-world scenarios every month, from economic crashes to loose nukes. For now, she told them to hang tight until after the midterms. Since the White House wasn't doing anything, Teddy suggested leaking the info to the press. It could get them in trouble for discussing classified stuff, but it seemed better than just waiting to be wiped out by the comet. While Sir Peter Ishewell, the tech billionaire CEO of Bash, learned about the incoming comet through some astronomer friends, Philip arranged for Kate and Randall to get an interview with the New York Herald. The Herald agreed to publish their story after confirming the data with other scientists and discovering that the White House had denied ever meeting them. However, they first wanted Kate and Randall to appear on the morning talk show The Daily Rip, hosted by Brie Eventee and Jack Bremer. The hosts didn't take them seriously either, treating the situation as just another chance for light-hearted news. Kate got frustrated on camera, angrily pointing out the severity of the situation before storming off. Randall stayed to finish the interview, and afterward, Brie invited him out for drinks. Later, the New York Herald's marketing team showed them the results. The singer who talked about her breakup before them got more social media buzz. Kate became a meme as the angry lady, and Randall was seen as surprisingly handsome for a scientist, but their actual message was ignored. The newspaper decided to withdraw their support, claiming NASA said the data wasn't reliable. They soon realized that the head of NASA, who wasn't even a real astronomer, was a donor to the president and was working under her agenda. To make things worse, Philip took advantage of Kate's viral fame and wrote an article about their past relationship, framing it as a breakup on her part. Meanwhile, Randall couldn't stay off social media, getting into arguments with anyone who questioned his scientific expertise or spread conspiracy theories. When the president got caught up in a larger scandal involving leaked intimate photos, she sent the FBI to bring Kate, Randall, and Teddy back to her office and apologized for having ignored them earlier. Kate quickly realized they were only doing this because they were worried about the midterms, but she agreed to help since stopping the comet was the top priority. The president then made a national broadcast, confirming that the comet was real and announcing their plan to destroy it. They would launch a spacecraft equipped with nuclear weapons to strike the comet. Despite Randall's suggestion that the mission should be controlled remotely, Janie decided to have General Benedict Drask pilot the spacecraft. She believed that presenting a hero as the face of the mission would help the public handle the news.
Guys, on EMAC, everyone's talking about how hot he is. $1,000 a pop.
Janie and Randall ended up all over TV and magazine covers as the event went viral, finally getting the spotlight it needed. After another appearance on The Daily Rip, Randall and Brie ended up spending the night together, while Teddy and Kate debated comet deniers on a conservative show. Launch day arrived, and the event was broadcast worldwide. The whole country was watching as Colonel Drask and his team were launched into space to take on the comet.
I'm over at the banjo on my
While Janie and the others celebrated their successful launch, Ishewell pulled her aside for a private conversation. Not long after, Colonel Drask and his crew started turning back toward Earth, basically calling off the mission.
Just turn it around.
I'm not gonna lie, turning around.
Does anyone know what the fuck just happened?
A few hours later, while the world was still trying to figure out what went wrong, Randall got promoted to chief science advisor at the White House and was called into an emergency cabinet meeting, leaving Teddy and Kate behind. It turned out that Isherwell, who's also a big donor to the president, had discovered through astrogeologists at Bash Cellular that the comet was packed with trillions of dollars worth of rare earth minerals needed for big companies like his. Since China controls most of the mines, the new plan was to send drones to break up the comet and let the fragments fall into the ocean for future mining. Randall couldn't believe what Isherwell was thinking and wondered why trillions of dollars mattered if they were all going to die anyway, but the decision was out of his hands. After the meeting, he met up with Kate and Teddy at a bar and filled them in on what was going on with Isherwell. Some people overheard them, and Kate decided the truth needed to be known. She loudly announced that the president planned to let the comet hit Earth so the wealthy could profit even more. This sparked riots across the city, leading the FBI to arrest Kate for sharing classified info and damaging property. They offered her a deal to get out if she agreed to stop talking about the situation and disappear from public view, which Kate accepted. People started backing the comet for jobs, making anyone against it, like Kate, seem like the bad guys. Even her parents sided with the comet and pulled away from her. Meanwhile, Randall kept working with the Orlean administration and had an ongoing affair with Bree. Things took a turn when, one evening, they returned to their hotel room to find June there, waiting to surprise her husband. Randall didn't even apologize, just tried to come up with excuses, leading June to throw his pill bottles at him before leaving for good.
He takes for the crashing depressions.
Not so.
Oh, appetite suppressant. Goddamn Cialis. Bye, Randall. I guess I'll just tell your sons.
Kate started working as a cashier at a supermarket, where she met anti-government activists, Yule and his friends. They admired her and invited her to hang out. Kate joined the group, and they talked about how Bash asked Janie to pay billions to the Chilean government to let a tsunami hit the coast. Kate mentioned that the reality was even worse, as Bash wasn't smart enough to be as evil as Yule and his friends thought.
Fuck, you're driving me fucking crazy, Kate.
After finding out Isherwell's technology hadn't been peer-reviewed, the dissenting scientists had been silenced, and being told by algorithms that he'd die alone, Randall appeared on the Daily Rip and completely lost it. On national TV, he raged against everyone for not taking the comet seriously, exposed how Isherwell was silencing scientists who disagreed, criticized the president and her administration for lying about the situation, and told people that, no matter their politics, he was just speaking the truth. Like Kate, Randall ended up with a bag over his head when the FBI caught him. And Bree broke up with him. Randall was driving back to Michigan, and Kate was hanging out with Yule when they both looked up and saw it. The comet was finally close enough to be seen with the naked eye. Kate patched things up with Randall and got back with him. They recorded themselves with the comet in the background and urged the world to take notice, sparking a movement called Look Up that millions of people joined and shared online.
Just look up!
Randall and Kate hosted a concert and even got support from two famous singers, Riley and Cello, who performed a special song, Just Look Up.
Get your head out of them. This time, it's so close. I can feel the heat of the heart, but crying or pray, whatever it's never gone.
In response, Janie launched her own movement called Don't Look Up, which gained backing from millions of conservative voters and conspiracy theorists who believed her claims that Randall was trying to scare them and strip away their freedom. Teddy also joined Randall and Kate. They tried to gather support from other countries. Russia, India, and China joined forces to stop the comet, but a mysterious explosion at the Russian launch site caused their mission to fail. The comet drew nearer and more people began to see through the lies. With little time left and no chance to fight back, Randall and his team resigned themselves to their fate. In Randall's car, Yule told Kate that he'd never felt this way about anyone else and wanted a serious relationship with her, even talking about getting engaged, which she agreed to. Randall seemed happy for them. Then he took Kate and Yule grocery shopping before driving them back to his hometown so they could spend their last day together as a family. Under the extreme circumstances, June decided to take Randall back after admitting she had cheated on him in college as well. Teddy joined them soon after. They all had dinner together, shared stories, and sent one last prayer to God while waiting for the comet to hit. On the night of the launch, as they were about to begin, Janie asked Ishmael what the algorithms predicted for her death, and he replied that she would be killed by a Bronte rock, whatever that was. They launched, confident of success, but the drone sent to mine the comet began breaking down one by one. They tried to destroy the comet with the few drones left, but it didn't work, and the comet kept heading toward Earth, still intact. Janie and Ishmael realized their efforts were pointless. They excused themselves to the restroom, leaving the chaotic control room behind.
She's coming back.
Eventually, they got on a plane to escape. Janie offered Randall a spot on the Wealthy's escape ship, which had cryopods to keep everyone asleep while they looked for a new planet. Randall turned down the offer to stay with his loved ones, and Janie realized she had forgotten Jason, who was sure she'd come back. As the comet cleared Earth's atmosphere and sped toward the ground, Randall and the others reflected on everything they had in life before the impact consumed them, leading to the complete destruction of Earth.
Doesn't taste so.
Yeah.
Very particular about his coffee.
I could get that way about tea. I mean,
She was a star. What? All we chose now. Just deserve.
22,740 years later, the survivors in the pods woke from cryosleep and stepped out of the spaceship. They arrived on a planet with lush hills, fresh air, and strange bird-like creatures. Janie was killed by one, identified by Ishmael as a Bronte rock. Jason was spotted emerging from the rubble and made a video asking for help.